Hi everyone and welcome to this video. My name is Magali and today I will be talking about the breath. The breath in everyday life, in our yoga practice, why it's so important, and also what teachers mean when they say ground the breath in a yoga class. So, I think it's safe to say that we all know how important breathing is. It's one of the most important functions that our body does for us to keep us alive and kicking. A little bit about how the breath works within the body, and we will be getting quite technical here and throughout, so please stay with me. Breathing is something that we do without us having to think about it. Our autonomic nervous system is an internal system which carries out functions of the heart and lungs without our conscious control. This autonomic nervous system can be broken down into two different branches: the sympathetic nervous system and the parasympathetic nervous system. The sympathetic nervous system is what's often known as fight or flight mode. Our breath quickens when we think we are experiencing a threat. This threat can be anything from seeing a bear in the woods, but it can also manifest itself in ways that we don't expect. For example, physical exertion, when we push the body beyond what it's used to, or mental and emotional well-being, so stress and anxiety. The body sends what's known as cortisol, stress hormone, to the body, and what that does is that it tenses the muscles, it quickens the heart rate, it quickens the breath, so we are in this fight mode, ready to fight off this threat that we're experiencing. The parasympathetic nervous system works much in the opposite way, so it decreases the heart rate, it slows the breath down, and it prepares the body for rest, digestion, and relaxation. The game changer comes when we realize that even though breathing is an involuntary act, we can control the breath. We have the power to regulate the breath within the body voluntarily and consciously. We have the power to slow down the heart rate, slow down the breath, and therefore calming the mind and the body, which is, after all, one of the main aims of yoga. And a little bit later, I will be going through some breathing techniques to help you in your yoga practice, but also combat mental and emotional stress, for example, anxiety. We spend most of our days breathing quite high up into the chest. Small, quick breaths, simply enough to go by our daily lives. But what that does is that it activates our sympathetic nervous system. Fast breathing sends a message to the brain that there's a threat, and the body tenses up. This physical tension further activates the fight or flight mode, which quickens the breath even deeper. And it becomes a bit of a vicious circle, because the quicker we breathe, the more the body thinks there's a threat. And so the more the body quickens the breath and quickens the heart rate into this tense and panic mode. I'm sure you've seen, whether in daily life or even in films, when someone is in this panic mode, they're often encouraged to calm the breath down, because what that does is it activates the parasympathetic nervous system into calming the heart rate and slowing the breath, further activating this relax and calm mode. And it's why in yoga we encourage long, conscious, deep, voluntary breaths to send the message to the brain that the body can relax and it is safe and that there is no threat. Now, grounding the breath. A lot of teachers use this term in yoga classes. I know I do all the time, but what does it actually mean? Grounding the breath is a cue used to invite you to send the breath as low as possible into the body, in this case, the belly. Sending the breath into the belly allows for much longer and deeper breaths, as there's much more space for expansion in the belly as there is in the chest. This action can trick the body into activating and stimulating the parasympathetic nervous system and decreases the levels of cortisol, the stress hormone, into sending the mind and the body into this relaxed and restful state. Belly breathing is also known as diaphragmatic breathing, as it stimulates the diaphragm. The diaphragm is a muscle used to help push the breath in and out of the body. It is located in between the thoracic cavity here, which protects your heart and lungs, and your abdominal cavity, which protects the rest of your internal organs. The diaphragm contracts to create space for the breath as you inhale and expands to help push the breath out of the body. In terms of implementing the breath into asana practice, postural yoga, it can be quite a challenge because we are physically exerting ourselves. And as we covered earlier, physical exertion stimulates this sympathetic nervous system, our fight or flight mode, into quickening the breath, tensing the muscles up, and sending a message to the brain that there's a threat. Let's take plank pose, for example. Plank is quite a physically demanding and challenging posture. Naturally, the muscles tense up to hold the weight of the body in this asana. So the challenge really is to try and calm the breath down, because as the muscles tense up, the brain gets the message that the body is in threat mode because it's pushing itself beyond its normal capacity, what it normally does in everyday life. There's also the option of making these physically challenging postures a little bit easier for your body. So for example, in plank pose, perhaps placing the knees down onto the mat so you can really focus on the breath rather than focusing on fully exerting yourself to the full of your capacity, which will further activate your sympathetic nervous system, that fight or flight mode. When moving through transitions in a vinyasa flow class, for example, the aim is to move slowly and with intention, allowing the breath to guide the movement rather than the other way around, rather than moving so quickly that we just don't have any option but to breathe quicker. So for example, let's take cat-cow, which is quite an accessible flow sequence. So we breathe in as we send the tailbone up, drop the belly, lift the chest, and lift the gaze. We exhale, we tuck the tailbone first, and we allow ourselves to move through the whole breath. Instead of going, which will activate that sympathetic nervous system, right? Which will increase the rate of the breath and the heart rate as well. We slow down the movement. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Moving slowly like this really helps calm the breath. It's stimulating this parasympathetic nervous system, and anatomically it really helps send oxygen to the muscles, which they will need to be able to support you through your yoga practice and through your daily lives. We're so used to breathing without having to think about it that it can take a little bit of time to get used to breathing consciously and voluntarily. It can take a bit of time to get used to really bringing that awareness and your focus on your breath rather than the physical exertion of the movement. Outside of your asana practice, your postural yoga practice, it's a good idea to do some breath work, some pranayama, to get used to breathing consciously and wholly in the body and balancing out the autonomic nervous system before physically exerting yourself. Because when we are physically exerting ourselves, it's much more difficult to focus the mind on the breath because we're so focused on the physical action that we're doing. And through pranayama, we activate this parasympathetic nervous system, which really helps combat not just physical threats, but emotional and mental threats that I spoke about earlier, such as stress and anxiety. And you'll notice that even when you experience stress and anxiety, the threat manifests itself physically as your muscles tense up and the heart rate quickens. So breath work really helps stimulate this rest and relax mode. It lowers the stress hormones being sent to the body and helps calm the mind. I'll be sharing 2 breathing techniques with you today, but before we start, I'd like to do some breath awareness work. So I invite you to bring one hand to your belly and one hand to your chest. If it's comfortable, feel free to close off the eyes so you can really focus on your breath. Just take a moment to arrive, acknowledge where you are, acknowledge your breath and any sensations in the body. And then on your next inhale, expand the belly. And then when there's no more room in the belly, allow the chest to expand. And then we drop in the chest first, push the breath there out. And the navel to spine, push the breath out of the belly. So we'll continue with this rhythm, breathing into the belly first, and then into the chest, and then out of the chest, out of the belly. Continuing like this. Inhale belly, inhale chest, exhale chest, exhale belly. 2 more. Belly, inhale, chest, exhale chest. Contract the belly, the diaphragm, navel to spine. Last one. Allow the belly to flop open, to expand. Inhale. And then chest. Exhale, chest comes down first. And then belly. Feel free to do this a few more times in your own time if it feels good, if it's comfortable, really bringing your awareness to your breath, feeling the belly expand on the breath, working that diaphragm in between the thoracic cavity and the abdominal cavity that we spoke about earlier, strengthening that muscle to work on the breath. So the first technique that I'll be sharing with you today is known as box breathing. We inhale for a count of 4, we hold for a count of 4, we exhale for a count of 4, and we hold for a count of 4. We'll do this a few times, and then on the exhale, we will actually exhale for a count of 6, and the rest stays at a count of 4. If 4 and 6 doesn't work for you, you can do it 5 and 7, or even 3 and 5. Have a play, see what works for your body and for the rhythm of your breath, because we all have different rhythms. The great benefit of box breathing is that when we reach the cycle where the exhale is much longer than the inhale, this helps calm and balance out the autonomic nervous system, so activating this parasympathetic nervous system that we've been speaking about, calming the mind and the body, because the more breath that enters the body and the less that releases out of the body, it brings us into this hypertensive state, which is not at all where we want to be. The more we push the breath out rather than taking it in, the calmer the mind feels, the calmer the body feels, and the less stress and anxiety we feel. So when you're ready, just come to a comfortable seat. It does help to close off the eyes if that's comfortable for you, to enhance the awareness of the breath so you're not distracted by external goings on. So again, just taking a moment to connect to your breath to arrive. And I'll count you through a few more rounds, but of course, doing this for as long as works for you, the longer the better. So when you're ready, pushing the breath out as much as possible. And then on your next inhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold, 4, 3, 2, 1. 6 counts. Exhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold, 4, 3, 2, 1. Last one. Inhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold, 4, 3, 2, 1. And inhale, come back to your natural way of breathing, your natural rhythm. Amazing. The last technique that I'll be sharing with you is called Nadi Shodhana. So take your right hand and place the thumb on your right nostril and then your ring finger on your left nostril. So we won't be pressing them at the same time. We start by pressing the ring finger on the left nostril. We take a breath in through the right nostril and then close the right nostril with the thumb and exhale through the left nostril. We stay like this. Inhale through the left nostril. Close the ring finger on the left nostril. Exhale through the right. Feel free to close your eyes. Inhale right. Close. Exhale left. Inhale left. Close. Exhale right. Inhale right. Close. Exhale left. Last one. Inhale left. Close. Exhale right. And release. And you might notice that your nostrils feel a little bit clearer as well. So this technique also helps balance out both sides of the body. It clears the energy channels as we focus the mind on the breath and calm our autonomic nervous system for a healthier and more relaxed life. So I hope you enjoyed this video and that now you have a better understanding of how the breath works in the body and how you can use it not just in your yoga practice but in your daily life to calm the body and the mind. I hope it wasn't too technical. I don't think I've ever used the words sympathetic and parasympathetic system so much in my life. But anyway, if you did enjoy, please give it a thumbs up and don't forget to subscribe. I will see you on Friday for a lovely flow. Bye!